one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold, but things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday, Robertson County. This is 1100 WSG. I'm Utah Laverne. This is one street over, and Jamie Nixon is in the house. Get ready to start seeing his face. We discussed this last time he was in. It was so funny because, you've been on my mind. Trent Cobb brought you in first time because you do his social media stuff.
I do some stuff with him. Yep.
And so then we ran into each other at the candidate forum.
Yes, ma'am.
And I had an opening the next day you came in. I think it was the next day, wasn't it?
Yeah, I kind of saved you that day. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think you did because I was tired after the candidate forum. Well, then we started talking about how that you need to come in on a regular basis, weekly. I have United Way that comes in weekly. Mm-hmm. And everybody's, why do you let them come in every week? I said, well, they bring stuff to the table because they're the connection to the nonprofits. And so it's wonderful. And we at one time, when I first started doing this show, we were over on DBL, and we had a guy that was with the Connection, Robertson County Connection, that would come on via phone. But it just wasn't very engaging, didn't sound good. And so I've always wanted to have that sports connection, and you're like, I'll come in once a week. We can't do it on every Monday because I've got some Mondays locked up with other guests, but we can do first Monday. We know we can do that. And then after that, and it might be, if not first Monday, then first Tuesday, because first Tuesday is open. So, that might work better, is to do a first Tuesday, which would have been last Tuesday. So, we'll know. Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Well, if we're going to do it once a week, because we can't do every Tuesday, we can't do every Monday. I've got reoccurring guests on some of those days, and so we'll figure it out.
And I want the
first
biggest,
Monday for sure.
And I want the biggest thing to be the fact that it's not, I bring, I do a lot of the stuff for East Robertson Athletics, and this is not just about East Robertson. I want it to be about Robertson County, number one, because I think that all of our student athletes in Robertson County should get some attention. And we got some great schools, and of course you being who you are in this, going out to the Robertson County area, you being involved in Greenbrier, but we should include all these schools in it. So this is a challenge, whether if somebody from the school wants to get with us and kind of come on as a co-host or a co-guest,
sure,
you can, or you can send us stats and information. Like if there's a Joe Burns person that's connected during basketball season and you guys want to text in stats, we can talk about that. Of course, a lot of these schools play each other during the year. We'll be able to talk about those games as well. But I want it to be more about the entire county and not just what I bring to the table as far as East Robertson goes.
I love it. I love it. And I'm excited about this. And as I'm just kind of thinking in the schedule and stuff, what we might could do is do an hour on first Mondays and then let y'all hit that 7 o'clock slot before United Way, 7 to 7:30. And so, and then sometimes, United Way, they're not available, but I mean, we might could work that. So, to where it's once a week at 7 and then they come in at 7:30. So
I'm sure we will figure this
we'll
out.
figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. And I have a student, Chris, that's wanting to come in, Blaze. I've got several. I'm not sure Landon still. I had 3 or 4 that want to come in and do the show. And I told them, I said, well, Monday, you're not in school, so come on, get on in here. Of course, you don't see that they're here. Chris would have been here, but he had some transportation issues. But we're going to get some of these students in here and they're all interested really in sports. They're when I talk to them about what they would want to do in the broadcast, it's sports. It's sports. So I mean that's what they're interested in. So I thought, well, we can tie all this together. So what is going on as far as because we're kind of wrapping up football season, but we've got some teams that, of course, are going to be in the playoffs and all those things. So where are we as far as the county in regards to football season? I know we had girls soccer has already happened, and volleyball is
Volleyball is pretty much done, I do believe. I don't believe there's any more teams. And you put me on the spot right now.
I just don't even know what all there is.
So during the fall season, you have football, you have girls soccer, and you have volleyball.
Okay.
And then during the winter months, you have wrestling and basketball. And then in the spring, of course, you have baseball, boys soccer.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And track.
Yeah.
And track.
Track.
But anyway, so those are the things we're wanting to keep up. And what about now? We got golf teams.
Yeah, we have golf.
Bowling teams.
Golf is in the fall. Forgot about that.
And I know. Do we have bowling teams in Robertson County?
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, let us know.
I know we don't have a bowling team at East Robertson. So
I don't know of one. Well, and the only reason I say that is because I've got some friends, the Moores. Their kids have been involved in it, but they're in Sumner County. They're on the Sumner County side of White House.
Yeah, and
they're in White House.
Yeah, and I know White House is a really good bowling team.
Yes, they do.
And I'm probably going to make somebody mad. We might have a bowling team at East Robertson. I just don't know about it.
Yeah, I don't either. There's so much. That's because I tell everybody that this has been such a blessing to me doing this show because I have learned so much about my county. I knew nothing about my county until I, sat behind this mic because I've always worked in Nashville. And it just has been awesome, what I've learned. And, of course, now in a teaching perspective, there's so much I don't know. As a teacher, man, there's a lot to learn. So, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Okay, Aaron Slate saying he bowled for Greenbrier High School.
Aaron Slate. Aaron Slate is a man of many talents.
Yes, he is. Marine. So, yes, he is. But, very good. So, where do you want to start?
Well, first I want to start off by just saying that we have 2 football teams still going, and they're going into the second round of the playoffs, East Robertson and Springfield. And Terrence Summers, my friend with Social Dweeb Sports, who I would love to have here on a consistent basis, he was unable to make it. But I told him, I was like, hey, man, we talked a little bit on the phone last night, and I said, get me some information because I want to bring some, some shine. What I like to call it shine. I like for some kids to shine.
You bet.
And we talked earlier in the evening yesterday, and I was like, I just need it before 6:45 in the morning. So Terrence texted me 11:23 last night. I'm laying there in bed after that Titans loss in overtime to the Chiefs.
Ooh.
But this is what Terrence sent to me. He said the 9-2 Jackets are heading deep into West Tennessee Friday night to play 11-0 Munford. Jackets are led by senior linebacker Joe Woodard, who has 100-plus tackles on the season. Offense is led by senior QB Devin Crenshaw, a dual threat with weapons at all offensive skill positions. The Jackets hungry to upset undefeated Munford, who is led by senior Mr. Football semifinalist Jordan Bell. He's quarterback. Munford is a 3-time defending region champs. And they're in the way of the Jackets. Chattanooga hopes the state championship will be in Chattanooga. So this is a big game for the Jackets. Munford definitely has some weapons. They have, like I said, they're 3 times defending region champions, and they've got a Mr. Football semifinalist. So that means they have some talent down there. And but they're going to have to beat the Jackets, and Dustin Wilson's going to have that team ready. Don't let those 2 losses fool you. All that's thrown out the window when it comes to playoff football because it's win or go home.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I don't want to say the only thing Mumford has going for them, but one of the biggest things they have for them is the fact that Springfield has to travel to them.
Of course.
But it's sometimes there's a lot of players that respond very well going into other people's backyards, and sometimes you like to be that team that steals somebody's, dreams. And we're looking for the Jackets to do that. We're looking for the Jackets to get another Robertson County win. And we can say that because, East and Springfield are in different classifications.
Yeah. So how does that work? Which class is Springfield? Which class is East Robertson?
Well, I want to say that Springfield is in 4A, I do believe, and East Robertson is in 2A. It's based off the side of the school.
Right.
If somebody's in the comments real quick, I do remember that Springfield used to be Region 5, 4A, and but that might have changed because they get reclassified a lot. So I'm more than likely telling you some inaccurate information right there, and I will say that on record that is probably inaccurate. So I'd love for somebody to chime in to tell us what region and what classification they are in.
Somebody will, because we all love our sports, and it was it's been kind of a tumultuous, I can't say the word.
Tumultuous, yeah.
Football season here these last few weeks, because you had the big win with Tennessee, and then they fell off the pedestal on Saturday, and then the Titans last night, and that's just the big ones. But then you get to all the high schools and all that, and we're still on fire. My cousin who is in Kansas City, or in Kansas, he messaged me last night, throwing it down over the Titans, and I was going to bed. I didn't even watch it. And how can you not watch football? I love watching the kiddos. I want to have a dog in the race. And whenever, I've just never really been into pro football or any of that stuff. Now, when my kids were on the football field, I was vicious. But I got to have a dog in the race. So as I get to know these kiddos, seeing the kids that are in my class and getting to see them on the football field, that's pretty cool. Yeah. That gets me fired back up for football. So I love it. But I'm getting there.
And it might be even a thing that we're able to talk to some of these local coaches, and you have a lot of kids who want to get recruited and things like that. One of the things they need to do is be able to come in and talk to people. Mm-hmm. It might be one of those things where, hey, coaches, if you're out there, you want some exposure for some of your kids and get them with some life skills, being interviewed.
Yep.
Maybe we have some of them come in.
Absolutely. I love that idea.
Yeah, because it would really be awesome to have some high school students come in and once again, just be able to sit down and look at somebody face to face and have an interview and talk about themselves and talk about their team. Mm-hmm. Their accomplishments, their struggles, and different things like that, because I'm a firm believer that you learn a lot. I'm not saying that people that play high school sports are better off in life later on, but there's so many things that I learned about life by playing high school basketball. I was a basketball player, went on to play college, but I learned a lot about life playing high school basketball.
There's no doubt. I've had now all my children are fabulous. I'll just say, they're all wonderful. But the one in particular that went through high school and played football at Good Pasture, went to Harding University, was there for 5 years. Played, he was redshirted, I guess, that first year, but started. He was awesome, and the way it has served him professionally, he's like at HCA now and just going up the ladder. And that athleticism, that you put it on your resume, and they like that. Mm-hmm. They really like that. So I think it's given him an edge by far. Well, absolutely.
I will tell you this, and I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a lot of time to cover, but you said that about the resume. I remember my high school coach in the late 80s, early 90s, Coach David Colley, said, being a state champion, you get to put that on your resume. And I kind of sat there and looked at like, okay. And I will tell you that I've put that consistently on my resume, and I've had more people consistently want to talk about that than almost any other of my skills. And one day I finally, as a young person, I said, why did you ask me about that? And the guy, he was probably mid-50s at the time, and he was doing the interview, and he said, that proves to me that you can work inside of a team and accomplish a common goal and not be about yourself.
Yep.
And so I know there's a lot of times that we chase not selfish, but individual accolades and things like that. But at the end of the day, you're only as successful as your team, and it's really important to be that team player, to do what your team needs you to do. Don't do what your team doesn't need you to do. Don't try to do that. And that success, if you do and you work hard and you put the time in, success will come in one shape, form, or fashion.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And the answer to your Springfield question, Region 5 4A.
Okay.
Yeah, Region 5 4A is what Michael Wilcox is saying.
Okay, I think that's what I said. But
I think it is too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So cool. That was a lucky guess on my part.
Very good.
So,
you did good. Talking with Jamie Nixon. He is with Nixon Pro, right?
Nixon Pro Media.
Nixon
Yes,
Pro
sir.
Media. I'm just making sure I got the company right. And I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of ads. But I want to just continually to remind you guys, if you have any kind of sports questions, any kind of feedback that you want to throw this way, he is going to be a regular now. We're just for sure the first Monday, and then we're going to probably slide him in here once a week just to kind of check in and see what's going on, because we want to stay up to date on what's going on with our kiddos. This is something that I have really struggled with from a radio perspective to do, because I'm not a big sports follower. I get excited about it, but I don't know enough about it to even know the questions to ask, so I do appreciate you coming in and helping us out with us. Let's go ahead and pause for a second. I'm going to talk about Barry and Rebecca Riches with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. My friends in real estate, they are just awesome, and just awesome and great at making sure that if you've got property that you're wanting to sell, people are going to know about it, because you got a marketer there that's going to help you. I can't say enough about the skill that Barry brings to the table. He was a vice president of a media marketing company in Nashville for 17 years. He comes to the table as a Zillow certified photographer, licensed and insured drone pilot, does those 360-degree virtual reality home tours. We'll get you up on realtor.com, of course, and just going to make sure all the things will be in line for you when it comes to making sure that you're properly represented at the real estate table. Now, Rebecca been at this a long time, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist, and she's going to cross every T and dot every I to make sure that everything is taken care of as you prepare to come to the real estate table. And if you're buying, first thing they're going to say is like, have you gotten pre-qualified? You got to get pre-qualified. That is a thing. You got to get it done, or you might as well not even start looking. But reach out to them today if you want to know. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. You can connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. Tell them you sent you. All right, Jamie Nixon's in the house, and he is with Nixon Pro Media, and a big sports fan, does a ton over at East Robertson. Now, I'll tell you, my friend Lee Marie, who producer extraordinaire and also host the Go Show on Wednesday, she messaged me, and she was saying that she says, looks like Division 5, Region 7 for Springfield. So Region 7, is that right?
It could be.
Okay.
Could be, yeah.
Division 5, Region 7. And one little programming
So
note.
they're 5A, so they're Region 7, 5A.
7, 5A, okay. And one programming note, Lee Marie's going to be in here tomorrow for Election Day. She's going to be filling in for me. I've been working with my husband at the CMAs. Not sure if we're going to have that going tomorrow or not, but we need to kind of keep our schedule open. So she's going to slide in here for Election Day. She knows more about politics than I do anyway. So I'm just saying. But anyway, so where do you want to go next?
Well, definitely would like to talk a little bit about our Indians. We just got finished talking about the Jackets. So the Indians are getting to play at home every game until Chattanooga.
Nice.
Hopefully that we win those 4 games and then we go to the state championship. And
when did the state championship get moved to Chattanooga? I thought it was in Cookeville.
it used to be in Cookeville, and at one time it was at MTSU. They've just moved it around, and so now I believe last year was the first year that it was in Cookeville.
Oh, you mean in Chattanooga?
I mean,
Because it was in
excuse me,
Cookeville
yeah.
when my kids played. Because we had to go to Cookeville.
I believe last year
whenever
was,
we
or
played.
the year before was
Okay.
was the
I
last
did
year.
not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit further to travel.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But,
But,
you also got to think about sometimes those, you got to think about the Memphis kids. Memphis
Yeah.
has got to travel
Oh, of course.
a long way now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out. But last week we played, well, crap.
Who you played in the
In the
first round?
I was just sat there.
Just went blank. Hey, you know what? That happens, buddy. That happens, brother.
I forgot about that. I just know we're playing Bledsoe County this
There you
time.
go. You beat them.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. You defeated them.
Polk County. We played
Okay, there you go. I knew it would come to you. But
we had Elijah Groves, a junior, who had a kickoff return, open up the game for a touchdown. That was really big. He had 7 tackles, he had an interception. His little brother, who's a sophomore, Isaiah Groves, He had 237 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. And then our semifinalist for Mr. Football, Zach Prince, he had a quiet night with 111 yards and 4 touchdowns. So so when you have those kind of weapons that are out there, and then so you're looking at our offense, somebody could say the player of the game is our offensive line with over 400 yards rushing. Indians are definitely getting it done on the ground. And but we also have a lot of weapons to stretch the field with our receivers and with our running backs out of the backfield.
Okay, so we're talking, we're coming up on states, and so when will this? They both are playing this weekend.
Right.
Okay.
You play every Friday until
the state, and then the state will be on a Saturday night. Did you say?
It'll be it's Saturdays. Yeah, they play all during the day
because they play the different regions and the different divisions.
I believe there's some Friday night games, and then there's some Saturday games. I'd have to look up that schedule. But
I mean, we could be. It could happen that East Robertson and Springfield go state.
Yep.
Will this game this Friday determine what's next, or is there one more game?
No,
state?
there's four rounds before the state.
So they've only won the one.
Yeah.
So everybody won their first round as far as Springfield and East Robertson.
Right.
They won first round. So this is second round. So because I was going to think that the state usually is right after Thanksgiving even.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the things that you want to be doing is that you want to be practicing on Thanksgiving. You actually want to eat a meal with your team. That's kind of the goal. And
not for the mamas, it's not.
Well,
they're excited for their kiddos, but Thanksgiving dinner is it's Thanksgiving dinner.
I'll tell you this: there's a lot of senior mamas that would gladly give up their team.
Oh, of course, yeah. I know. I remember.
But one of the biggest things is the fact that. For us, and I wish that I had some other input with some other teams and some other history, but I know Dustin Wilson's been very successful at Springfield, and but East has never made it past the second round. This is the farthest East ever gets in the history of the school is second round of playoffs. So the crazy thing is that this team has accomplished a lot of things that they've never done before. Big win. I believe they were 9. No, they had never beat Trousdale. We beat Trousdale this year.
Okay.
We had one win over Watertown, beat Watertown this year. First time region champs in, I believe it was 17 years, 14 years, something like that. So there's a lot of things that this brand new coaching staff is doing at East Robertson. I know that I say it a lot on our broadcasts, and we don't want to take anything away from these student athletes. But I've always said when you have men teaching boys how to become young men, it makes this world a better place. Yep. And it makes you have a better team. And so our hats are off to Coach Brooks and his coaching staff for all that they have done in our community. And you've seen our community rally around them. And if you look at it, in about 2 years' time, and I'm just throwing this out there, East Robertson has the ability in 2 years being a baseball state champion, a basketball state champion, and we have a team right now that is on that path to maybe compete for that state championship.
That's great. That's exciting. So this is the big round. Trying to get past this big round is big.
For us, it's definitely get past this round. Now we're in uncharted waters.
That's awesome, though.
The cool thing is those uncharted waters will be at Barry Baker Memorial Field off Kilgore Trace in Cross Plains, Tennessee.
There you go. If you get past Friday, then you get to bring it home.
Well, we're still at home.
Okay.
Our record, we were 9-1 to finish the season. They lost the very first game of the season, and we won out from there. So our record dictated that we were able to have home field advantage through the whole playoffs.
So I'm learning, y'all. Everybody's going, Laverne, pay attention. Okay, so we could actually see a playoff game this Friday in East Robertson.
Yes.
Oh.
No, you're going to see a playoff game this Friday.
Okay.
There's a possibility next Friday you'll see another playoff
game. We will see. I've got a feeling my husband is going to be like, we're going. Because, that'd be fun to see a playoff game right there. Because now the Springfield, when you say, is out of town, though, right?
They're in Mumford, yes.
They're in Mumford. Now, is there a chance that they could come back?
I would have to look at their bracket. I'm actually just looking up the East Robertson bracket. I don't know why I did not have this pulled up to begin with. But we beat Polk County. Harpeth got beat by Bledsoe County. That's who we're playing, and we're playing them on November 11th, which is this Friday. The next game for us will be November 18th. Then after that, November 25th, and then the state championship game will be Saturday, December 3rd in Finley Stadium at 3 p.m.
Okay.
So the Indians would need to win 3 more games.
Okay. Well, we're just going to be rooting them on. This is exciting times. We got 2 that are in the playoffs that we're going to keep cheering on, and Jamie's going to keep us up to date on it and explain to us all the things because I don't know.
I'm going to try. This is new for me as well. So
Yeah.
Me and you talked last night, and you're like, yeah, I'll come in, and and I had Terrence give me the information
Yeah.
about Springfield. So as we're going forward, this is one of those things that I think we could actually grow this. People would tune in.
I agree.
People could share it on Facebook and
Yep.
stuff like that. And but we want it to be about, from Joe Burns all the way to Greenbrier out to Heritage. Speaking of Heritage, this Saturday night is basketball jamboree. So I know there's
Okay.
there's a lot of teams involved in the jamboree there at Heritage. I know East Robinson's over there playing, and I would during the break or something, I'll see if I can get a list of those teams that are playing over there. But I do know that all the money that's raised for that jamboree is going. It's a fundraiser for a donation, and I'll get some more information.
So will
on
it
as well.
be okay? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I
but
know.
will it be within the county, or
That's-
will it be outside of the county?
That's what I'm
teams?
trying to figure out. I think it
Okay.
is inside the county.
And to do because I'm curious as to how much they play. I've never been to a basketball jamboree. I mean, I've been to scrimmages and things like that, but I've never heard. I guess I've heard basketball jamborees, but I didn't really know what they did or how they did it, and that's another thing that would be fun. I played basketball, so I know basketball much more than I do football, and so I mean I was a basketball player, so that's my thing. But and I'm from Wildcat country. I mean I'm a Kentuckian. Originally, I was only there for 17 years, so I can't really call myself a Kentucky anymore. I've been in Tennessee a long time. While you're looking that up, I tell you what, let me go ahead and we'll just take our next break. I need to talk about what's going on over at Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. It's so funny. My friends, they were out running around they were going to different Christmas things, going to Christmas samplers or whatever. And I told them, I said, well, are you coming to Springfield? And they didn't, because they're not from this county. And I said, are you kidding me? You got to get up here because this is the big one. And so they came by. And it was so funny because they ran into Miss Jane and Miss Amy, and they were so excited. It's so much fun to talk to them because they are so knowledgeable about everything that they do. Now they were not there under the guise of Corbin Creek. They were there because they're part of the women's club that help put that on to raise funds to keep the building up and all of that. And I heard it was just a fabulous weekend. But if you want to know more about Corbin, the best way to stay up to date with what they have going on is to follow them on Facebook because that's where they talk about their hours. They've got new hours, and we've been talking about that for a while. They're open from 10 to 4 Monday through Saturday, and then 1 to 4 on Sunday. They always cut the hours back during the colder weather months. For one thing, Amy is out helping decorate homes in November and December because they do a Christmas decorating business, and she and Stephanie do, and they go out and they get booked up fast. So if you want some help decorating your home for Christmas, you need to contact them right now because I know I talked to them a week and a half ago, and November was already booked. So you need to get on their schedule right away, and you can always give them a call at 615-384-3185, 615-384-3185. They will always have their CBD products throughout the cold weather months. If you have never tried CBD to see if it'll help you with inflammation issues, I highly recommend it. My doctor insisted that I start using CBD because I have such bad arthritis and I won't take medicine. So he said, well, try CBD. And it has been fabulous. It's really helped me tremendously, and it may be a game changer for you. They'll have that throughout the winter, and they'll also have all the house plants you need, succulents, beautiful things to keep the blooming green life in your house. Go and see them today. Again, new hours, and you can follow them on Facebook. They're at 4920 Highway 161. When you go by there, you need to always let them know you sent shots. And thank them for sponsoring One Street Over. Tony Nixon's in the house from Nixon Pro Media. And you need to tell them how to get in touch with you and what you do with your business. You want to do that before we get back into the sports
I'll actually
stuff?
I'll put it down there in the comments as well.
Okay.
One of the things, you can look us up on Instagram and Facebook, Nixon Pro Media. We build websites. We do social media marketing for small to medium-sized businesses. We love to be the bridge between businesses and their clients. We help you buy brain cells. That's basically
I love it.
a good buddy of mine and a long time, my longest client, Mr. Don Eden of Prosperity Mortgage. Always have to give him a shout out for so much that he's done for me. But one day he just looked at me and he goes, man, all you're doing is helping me buy brain cells. And so we just continue to make content. If you don't know how to make content or you don't want to make content, you want somebody to handle it for you, you want somebody to post on your social media for you, you want somebody to come in and get to know about your business. I have a team that does a great job, and we do photography, videography, graphic design. If you're thinking about a brand new business and you need a logo, you need to be branded, we do all that as well. So if you just think marketing, digital marketing, everything gets started, I would love to sit down and just have a meeting with you. That's free. We can sit down. We can talk about dreams. We can talk about things that you need to do, struggles that you're going to have, but the ways to overcome them.
Yeah.
And I just love to see. I was somebody who worked for a long time and worked for people and don't have any bones about it, but I made a lot of people a lot of money. And then once I became an entrepreneur 7 years ago, I was like, man, I wish I'd have done this earlier.
Yeah.
So, so I love to see people doing that. I love to see young people going after things like, basically following their dreams, becoming their own boss, so to speak.
Yeah.
Starting their own business. I just think that that's what this world was built off of or this nation was built off of. And I love to see people doing it.
Okay, you got to come talk to my class, because this is something that I stress to them constantly when it comes to video and photography and all of those things. I said that it touches everything you do now, because we're a social media driven society.
Yep.
There is nothing you will do professionally. I don't care if you're working for somebody, if you're an entrepreneur, that the skills that you can learn through videography, audio, all those things will not benefit you if you'll just learn just the basics. And you're a testimony to
Right.
that. Absolutely.
Can I say my one PSA that I say all the time?
All the
Because I know
time. Yeah, absolutely. Go.
a lot of people say, social media is so negative. Social media is this, and there's so many people that do this. And
Yeah.
Yes, I will say every one of those statements is correct. But at the same time, we do have to find times to put the phone down, to go shake hands, give people hugs, see people face to face, have coffee, have lunch, and regardless of where your stance is on the Second Amendment. But I will tell I don't like to say this, but social media isn't evil. Guns aren't evil. People.
Yep.
People. If you're negative on social media, it's because you're a negative person.
Yep.
And the way to combat that is, if you're a positive person, every time you see something negative, post something positive.
Yep.
And you can change your own world. You can change your own circle just by being positive.
Yep.
Stop being negative.
Absolutely. And I'm going to just kind of dovetail on a couple of those things you just said. There's one thing I was telling you how I'm just kind of deep in Bible study right now. One of the people who I study her stuff all the time is Chrissy McClellan, the Jesus and Women person that's out there. Well, she was talking in a lesson I don't know which one it was, but she was talking about how that during World War II, there was a leader from the Jewish community in the middle of all the things that were going on. I'm thinking they were in Poland, and said, you need to be very careful of a Christian who only tells you what they're against. And so that's just, this is a Christian radio station. So any chance I can to throw that out there. If all you do is tell people what you're against, pray about it and rethink it and see if you can't. There's my friend Gwen Harder. We've got a bunch of folks here from WSGR. They're on their way to Israel right now, and Gwen is going. And she was on here last week, and she's just really excited about a lot of stuff. And she says, during November, I am only going to pray and praise. I'm not going to ask God for nothing. He knows my name. I'm only going to pray and praise. And I thought, well, that'd be hard to do. And then I started doing it, and it's fun. And that spirit can follow you in everything you'll do if you'll just be positive, be praiseworthy, and just it changes your whole perception, man. It really does.
And November is that hard month because we're supposed to strive to be thankful, but then a lot of times in November you have political elections and people lose their minds. And tomorrow people are going to go out and vote. Go out and vote.
It's your responsibility.
That's your responsibility.
Yes.
Be positive about it. But here's the thing: be positive about your client. Not your client. Be positive about the person that your candidate. Excuse me.
Yes.
And my thing is that the cream always rises to the top. You know, the sun's always going to shine, and you know, we don't have to spread negativity. You know, all you have to do is be positive and talk about the things that you know about. And if you don't know about something, just don't talk about it.
Yeah, just keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
That's why I'm staying out of politics these days.
Yep.
But anyway, and one of the preachers who I follow, y'all know, you've heard me talk about Bobby Davis a lot. I love how he said it one time whenever people were just so distraught over something that had happened in an election, and I was one of them. And he said, you know, after a particular election had happened, people were coming up to him and saying, well, what are you going to do? And he's like, I voted. It's not my responsibility. And he said, we've got to remember that if it's within your power to affect it or to control it, it's your responsibility. And if it's not, give it to God. Voting is within your power to affect it or control it. And it is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to vote, folks. Go vote.
Well, and I don't want to talk too much about that,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I really think about the things that we do, and this relates to sports, down to the classroom, down to parents at home. If you are not, every time you open your mouth, you're teaching your children something.
Yep.
And if you teach them, hey, with my words, I'm going to talk about the candidate that I like, and I'm going to go vote for that candidate. So then your actions prove that.
Right.
But if you come back home and just because your candidate didn't win and you decide, well, it was rigged, or it was this, or
Right.
it was that, you know, your kids are always going to be a victim, and they're going to have jobs where they don't have, where they don't have bosses, you know, where they have bosses they don't like. You might play a sport, you might have a coach you don't like, you know, you might have a politician that's over, your area that you don't like. But you still have to follow them. You still have to be a good citizen.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we lose focus on being a good citizen because we get hurt.
Yep. Oh, that's well said. Very good. Very good. And we're talking with Jamie Nixon, and I just had to go ahead and mention, just remind people tomorrow is election day. So please get out there and vote. Schools will be closed tomorrow. Schools are actually closed in Robeson County today because it's teacher in service. It's a professional development day for us. So the kids aren't out running. I had one go to Florida. They took an extra day off, and they're like, we got 5 days. We'll see ya. And so good for them. But so kids are out today and tomorrow.
Basketball. I did look. It says on the schedule, County Jamboree.
Okay.
Starts at 3 p.m.
Okay.
Stephanie Mason scholarship, all the money, so there's no passes out. This is just basically a jamboree that Heritage is having, and all the proceeds goes to the Stephanie Mason scholarship. So it will be for a good cause. If you're not familiar with Stephanie Mason, which I am not, I'm going to Google it after this. But
She was the assistant director of schools, and right after she retired, died very suddenly, and just suddenly. I don't know exactly what happened, but very dear friend of Dr. Chris Causey, and I will never forget. Well, and all of those that worked at Central Office, she was amazing. I did not know her. I maybe met her one time, but she was just, the kids of Robeson County were her kids. And she retired, and I mean, it was almost like 2 weeks later, she died very suddenly of something. I never heard exactly. I don't know if it was an aneurysm or, that's kind of in my mind must have been what happened. But a heart attack. I just don't know. But very tragic, and just a person who just poured herself into Robeson County and was greatly loved by those who knew her.
Well, thank you.
So that's who she is.
Thank you for educating me on that. And I want to throw out a challenge next year. As we've talked about basketball, and we're going to talk about sports, we'll go through the basketball and the baseball season. But next year for football, there's something that our county does that's really neat. And the Jordan Osborne and the chamber puts this thing on where it's the pep rally on the square.
That's really cool.
Man, you got to come out for that. You got to see
fun.
You got to see these schools, their cheerleaders, their teams. We all come here, to Springfield, and we're all up there on the square. And I just want to give a shout out to them, because every football season starts off like that. And it's life. We all have hopes and dreams of being in the playoffs, going to the state championship. And the cool thing about our county is that if your team's not in the playoffs right now, you can still rally around Springfield and East Robertson, because they're still Robertson County kids.
You bet. And I believe that I think the students will do that. I really do. And I'll talk it up when I get a hold of my kids on Wednesday. Because I've got several football players in my class and be like, hey, who all's going? Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go to the game. And their Greenbrier's playoff game was not local. It was,
Right.
I'm not sure where it was, but it was not local. I know that. But, you know, and it's just fun. It's just fun to get out there and support those kids.
Right.
So I'm going to I'm getting my groove back on, getting into the sports. I have to kind of, it's been a while. My youngest child is 26.
Right.
So I haven't been in the whole high school athletics atmosphere in a long time. So I'm having to kind of get reacclimated too. So tell me, so when does basketball season start?
I mean, Saturday's
So
the
the Jamboree, really? So that's the official kickoff?
Here,
Really?
so that's the 12th, November
Okay.
15th. November 15th, a Tuesday. East plays at home, and they play Portland in the Hall of Fame Classic.
Okay.
And then on the 19th, on a Saturday, they go to Gordonsville. They play Gordonsville and DeKalb County. The boys play Gordonsville. I believe the girls play DeKalb County.
Okay, well, I got to
So
get this.
so we're right in it. And Coach Caton Freese Robertson, you know, he's coming off a defending state championship.
Oh, yeah?
As long as his football team keeps playing, he's missing a lot of players.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Well, see,
So-
my husband did that. He was basketball, football, and track in
Yeah.
high school.
So
Sorry.
out of the returners that are coming back that started, you have Z Prince and Elijah Groves, and Sean Groves was starting a little bit. He was coming off the bench as well, coming off the injury. So you have those three guys as well as Isaiah Groves. So you have four. You also have Carson Craig, who's a senior that'll contribute a lot of minutes to the basketball team. So Coach Caton's out without 6 or 7
Oh,
players
wow.
that will contribute. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But I'm telling you right now, the East, I'm saying it right now. There's a kid named Mason Edson that his dad played at Greenbrier.
okay.
I'm looking for Mason to have a good season this year. He's senior. He can shoot. Has phenomenal jumping ability. I'm really ready for that switch to kind of flip for him. And once it happens, I think he's going to be a phenomenal player.
What grade's he in?
He's a senior.
He's a senior.
He's a
okay.
senior.
See, has
So
he got
he's-
some height on him?
He's about 6'2", 6.
Okay.
Yeah, you like that? And
Okay.
so, you know, of course, they lost Taylor Groves, who's down at Ole Miss, but they're bringing back a lot of players, and I think that they'll have the same type of run. And I'm looking forward to talking to Jim Sorrells. And, you know, I'll just go ahead and tell you this, just words that I hear. Joe Burns has a middle school kid who has dunked in a game. Yeah, so when you have an 8th grader who's already doing that, you know, I was able to watch a couple of East Robertson middle school games, and they played Coopertown and beat them, but then they fell the other night. So, you know, I don't get a big chance to cover a lot of middle school athletics over there, just because covering all sports at the school would be almost impossible.
Well,
especially if you have a full-time job.
That's just it. And that's one thing, whenever they brought me in to be the audio video teacher, I said, now, what I am not is your sports person, because I know nothing about it. And it's just not, you got to have a passion for it. You got to have a passion for it. Now, will I encourage and support somebody that wants to come? If the student wants to do it, absolutely. Give them the tools to do it. But it's just, it's a lot of work.
Yep.
It is a lot of work, because, I mean, you do that volunteer.
Yep.
Yeah, because, I mean, all this sports stuff he's doing, that's not his job, y'all. He's with Nixon Pro Media, and that's his job. Everything he does athletically, he volunteers.
Well, I have a great team there at Nixon Pro. One of the guys
Yeah.
that commentates the games with me, his name is Trace Lawless, and he's responsible for a lot of the graphics and stuff. And, you know, honestly, this guy should be working at some major college or professional team the way that he does things. And I'm just fortunate that he's on my Nixon
Right.
Pro team. But he loves sports. He went to Austin P, where he was heavily involved with the baseball team there and did a lot of stuff for them there. So we're just very fortunate to have what we have at East Robertson, and it's my hobby. You know, people ask all the time. He's like, you know, where do you find the time? You know, why do you do it? I just love to do it. I just love I love to make a video or make a graphic and post it and see kids share it and see them smile. You know, you'll pass them at some point and they'll say, hey man, thanks for that, appreciate it. Or they'll send you a message, hey, can you send that to me so I can post it? You know, so that's really cool.
That's neat. I love it. So much fun. These kids, we love our athletes, and we love all of our kids. And but the sports is something near and dear to me. If a lot of times, man, kids are maybe having a hard time finding their way. If you can get them linked in with something that's team driven, that's sports driven, it can give them just something to really pour themselves into, to maybe get them through a tough time in life. For me, it got me out of the field because I grew up on a farm, and it was something to do other than farm, And so I was glad to get out on the courts and all of that. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Okay, so we were talking about all the different things we have, and something that I always wish that we had when I was growing up that we did not have access to, and I wonder what kind of access they have locally, are swim teams, because that's something that I really would have been very, very good at. And I'm looking at my granddaughter now, the way she's built, and she's only, just a little bitty thing, but she's just 2, but you can kind of already see how she's growing. I think she's going to be tall, and I think she's going to be. I've got a 2 or 3. I've got a little niece too up in Michigan. I'm like, you need to put her in a pool. Do we have access to stuff like that? Because, for some people, that's a really good fit for them.
Right. As far as Robertson County goes, I'm not aware of one.
I don't know of any.
Also, do not know. I'm not sure about the pool at the YMCA. Is it a Olympic? Because you have to have a place to practice.
Yeah, you gotta have. Yeah.
I do know there is. I just know of one individual who went to beach, and her name was Jacqueline Stone, and she went to Carson Newman and swam. She was a really good swimmer, and but she was at beach, so that was the only person, and that's been. I mean, I know beach still has that same swim team, but I don't follow it enough. But inside Robertson County, I do not think that we have a swim team.
Well, see, I just think that's something that I would love to see somebody try to tap into, because, man, some of these girls out here, particularly with the women, they don't have football and they don't have other things, and I would love to see some of them get into that. I wish I'd had access. Because I think I would have been very competitive. But I just was curious about that, if you knew anything.
Yeah, and at the same time, you got to think about facilities and coaching.
Yeah, that's
for
the big
any time
thing.
that you add a sport. If you add it in girls, you have to add it in boys.
True.
And that's
True.
not the
When
way
it
it
comes to
goes. Really, when
schools.
you add it in boys, you have to add it in girls.
Yeah.
And there's there's legal reasons for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely know that would be something, and I would imagine Springfield would be the biggest school. Well, they are the biggest school, so that would be, if there was a swim team, it might be kind of neat, because I do know that there's other like Joe Burns. I know there's some kids from Joe Burns that come wrestle with East Robertson.
Okay.
But Joe Burns doesn't have a wrestling team. So that might be something that somebody gets challenged with at some point. Not to put athletic director, coach, I still call him Coach Pat Brown on the spot, but maybe there's a need to have a county-wide swim team.
I think
try to go
talk to
compete.
Kazi about that and be like, man, we need to have a facility with a pool to where the kiddos can see what we can do. I bet some of these country kids could be competitive in the pool. I really wish that we had more access to stuff like that in some of these county areas, because it's something people don't even think about. It's something I never even thought about. And I would have been good. I don't have any doubt about it. So I had another question, and it slips my mind now. I can't remember now what it was, but I like knowing about all the different things that we have. Wrestling. Do they have women? They have girls wrestling?
Yes, actually they do. Girls can wrestle during wrestling season.
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So do they? Is it just women wrestling, or do they wrestle? Is it?
You can't wrestle the boys.
I wouldn't think. Yeah, that's what I figured.
And you have to watch what you say there, I guess.
Well, no, but I'm just saying I didn't.
Yeah.
I just don't know anything about it.
Yeah, some schools that have female wrestlers, and what happens, it's kind of like weight class as well. You have some smaller wrestlers, some lighter weight guys that might be in the 85 weight class. And they show up to school, and the school doesn't have somebody in that weight class. Well, they automatically win. So if you're a girl and you show up and the school doesn't have a girl wrestler, well, then you automatically win. And so that does count as a win, and then that counts towards your standings going towards what would be called the playoff matches.
Okay. So if you're really good and you don't have any local competition, man, you could get to state pretty fast.
Well, yeah, you could, but then that's always really scary because then you haven't wrestled anybody to get there except for maybe practice and things like that. And
maybe your brother. We played the boys when we played basketball. I tease my Tennessee friends because I grew up in Kentucky. We only played full court ball.
Yeah.
We mocked Tennessee over your half court little thing y'all did with the girls. Thing? Oh, we were like, what are y'all doing? My friend Muriel Barnett, she was intense basketball player. Apparently, I don't know if you know Muriel or not, but she was a star basketball player. And I love to tease her about the difference between Kentucky and Tennessee when it came to girls basketball.
Now, my mother used to play the 3-on-3, and I'm going to be honest with you, I loved it. I loved watching it because she was a defender. So I loved watching her getting a rebound, and she'd bring that ball back out. And I didn't see a lot of people do it, but the other three offensive players would run plays almost like a football, like wide receivers. And then she would make passes for them to cut back door, because she couldn't bring it across half court. She had to make that pass. And I thought it was a lot more strategy. Now, you didn't have to be, I guess in some theory, you didn't have to be as in good shape.
No, you didn't.
But it was I've always tried to get a bunch of guys to play it with me, but they all laugh at me. I was like, man, I think this would be fun. Like, I'm only playing offense. I said, half of y'all only want to play offense anyways.
That's interesting. I never really even knew how it was structured because we just run and gun, man.
Yeah,
and we were runners.
It was three offensive players against three defensive players, and when the defensive team got a rebound, when those offensive players could turn into defenders and try to get the ball back, but you're trying to get the ball from your half of the court to your three offensive players on the other end of the court.
It's just so silly.
It was weird. It was weird.
Yeah, it's like, what is the theory behind doing that? The girls are just too delicate and didn't need to be running up and down the court? Come on.
I don't know.
But that's, these are the kind of things we can talk about. I mean, these are the kinds of conversations we can have because I have that experience of having played and known that the other, the 3-on-3 or the 6, whatever they were doing, half court. But we never, in Kentucky, no, we played full court the whole time. We threw it down.
Getting back to this being a Robertson County thing, I love living in this county. I had moved up here. My older siblings lived up here and went the whole time. Then when I was younger, I lived in Nashville. And then I came up to East Robertson in 8th grade. But I just love this area. The other day, I got a chance to go up in a 2-person helicopter with Highland Rim Aviation, who's out Roberts County Airport. And they have a flight school up there. And you can go up there and get your private license. But I got up in this helicopter, and it was my first lesson. And you start flying over Springfield. And I've flown drones before, and it's like cool to see a bunch of things. But when you're in a helicopter and you can see all around you, and you see how beautiful this county is, it is. And if anybody ever wants to do that, all you got to do is give them a call on Facebook. Just send them a message, give them a call. They have discovery flights, pretty inexpensive to go up there and fly around in a helicopter. And if you're interested, they'll even let you give the controls and you can fly it for a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
That's
really
cool.
neat.
We live near the airport, so we see a lot of that stuff going on.
So I really enjoyed that with Highland Rim Aviation.
Very cool. Very cool. So you going to get your license?
I don't know.
You said you had a lesson. I was like,
I had a lesson. Well, the very first lesson anybody takes, they walk you around, they do a checklist, they get you up in the air, they teach you all about it, and then they let you, they want to get you hooked in there and doing it. But, every little boy always wants to fly, so when you're up there, and I just didn't realize it was that inexpensive. It takes time.
Yeah.
And when I say inexpensive, that's some people would say, well, is expensive, but I would just let you guys figure out on your own. I just never thought that you could get a pilot's license, and depending on how fast you want to get it,
Right.
Some people get it in a month, some people get it in 2 years.
Yeah, I've got a friend's son that's actually wanting to get his pilot's license. I've got a good friend I used to do radio with that is a pilot and that flies all over the place. I've got a lot of friends. I had an uncle that bless him, Uncle Joe, he learned to fly, and he would come off of a landing strip he had across his field, and we'd have family reunions and be like, "Hey, there's Uncle Joe." And different ones would go fly with him. I never did, but he flew. He flew. He was hysterical. But I think there's just so many cool things out there to do. And we were talking about the swim. Tiffany Thompson says that there is a homeschool swim team. She's one of my United Way folks, but she says there's a homeschool homeschool swim team. So normally you've got the thing where the homeschool kids are wanting to work with the county kids, and well, now the county kids are going to be, well, can we come swim with your swim team?
That's pretty cool.
There you go. But we're talking all things sports. Good morning, Jerry Southergirl checking in. Good to see you on here, Jerry. And I feel like Romper Room. Well, there's Tiffany and there's Gerald. You don't even know what Romper Room is, do you?
I've heard it.
Okay. There was a thing back in when I was a kiddo, and they would come on television, and she would go, well, I see this one and I see that one. So when I start calling out names on the comments of my friends that are checking in, it kind of makes me feel like
Well,
the
I do
Romper Room
remember
lady.
up there in the party lines, right there in the middle of Cross Plains, there's a little white building where people would connect the people when you wanted to,
I'll tell you, I start talking like this with my students, and they just look at me like
that person had a lot of information if they wanted it.
Oh yeah, I grew up with party lines. I know exactly. You pick up the phone, somebody on the phone. But anyway, time marches on, y'all. I'm going to take a minute. We're talking with my friend Jamie Nixon. He is going to be a regular with us for sure first Mondays, and we're going to work the rest of it out because we need to be checking in every week about what's going on in the sports world for our kiddos because we want to stay up to date with them. So you get ready to see him more and more. I want to remind you right now about one more time. You have one more chance to go over to Veterans Motorplex and watch the races this year. They are wrapping up their season Saturday. They had Sunday races yesterday. I had some of my students that went out there. I cannot wait to see some of the footage that they've got. But they have got some fun things going on out there. They want you to be a part of it. And Jerry's he's like, man, people just don't realize what we're doing out here, how we're having these wonderful races, wonderful environment for the kids and the families. They got a great ticket price. Their ticket goes up $10 this week simply because they're not only doing the races, they're also going to have some demo derbies. So there's just a lot of fun. So it's a $50 ticket. We'll get 8 people in. That'll get 6 minor kids and 2 adults. It's usually a $40 ticket, but again, it went up a little bit because of the demo derbies. $50 will get 8 people in the gate this Saturday. Now, the gates are going to open, I believe, at 2, and then everything's going to start at 4 because of the time change. And so you want to get out there and enjoy it. My husband and I are going. Cannot wait to get out there. I tried to get out there last night because I would have loved just to see my students in action as well, but it's a lot of fun. Great community, and this is the old Highland Rim Speedway that is Veterans Motorplex. If you want to follow them, go to Highland Rim Speedway on Facebook. They did not change the name of the Facebook page because it had something like thousands and thousands of followers. There's 17,000 followers right now, so they wanted to keep that audience. But you'll see the banner across the top is Veterans Motorplex. Great guys running that. Talking with Jerry last week. Really just inviting you to come out and just see what's going on. A lot of fun. Again, gates will open at 2 this Saturday. Racing at 4. It's going to be a great time and demo derby. So go and see them. This is at 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. If you've got questions, you can call them at 615-643-8725, 615-643-8725. Always please let them know. All right, you were wondering what we were going to talk about. We're down 4 minutes. What you got? We just got 4 minutes to go, my friend.
4 minutes.
Yeah, see how we can we're just on the porch talking.
Well, I'm just going to let everybody know, if you want to support, I know Social Dweeb Sports will be broadcasting. I do believe maybe Terrence can say something in the comments. I just tagged him. We every week we have to ask TWAA permission to broadcast playoff games. So they've already granted us permission.
Okay.
We actually have to raise money to do that as well because we have to put that money into the gate because they feel as if you broadcast and it'll affect your crowd. But if you guys are wanting to watch the game, no matter where you're at, you can watch on East Robinson Athletics on Facebook. That's where we do our live broadcast.
Okay.
So if you do want to support, local, local boys, local teams, and you're in the Greenbrier, Joe Burns area, whatever, you can always tune in and, in the comments, tell us where you're watching from, and we'll give you guys a shout out. But we love for people to watch. We love for people to be in attendance, of course. But if you can't make it out, you can always watch it on your phone. East Robertson Athletics on Facebook.
East Robertson Athletics on Facebook. And yes, Greenbrier Athletics. We're going to figure out how to get y'all on in here too. We're going to talk, but Jamie's going to steer the ship because I don't know anything about it.
Voice of the Bobcats. I think I need Jim to reach out to me. I'll reach out to him as well.
Okay.
And then I know who to talk to over there at Heritage as well. So we'll slowly get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
And you might have to add a couple more chairs and microphones.
That's okay. That's okay. We've got another mic there. We can just swing on around here. And I'm going to have some of my students come in. We had planned on having some of them in today, but again, they're sleeping in, because they're out of school today. So they're sleeping in, but that's okay. Remember, schools are not in session today. It is a professional development day. Teacher in service, basically, is what we call it. And school is closed tomorrow because of the election. So get out and vote. My dear friend Lee Marie's going to steer the ship tomorrow because CMAs are going on. My husband and I always work behind the scenes on CMAs, and that's a long story why we do that. But it's just something we've been doing for about 8 years now, and so we kind of feel like we may be tied up with that. So I've got her sliding on in here to take care of that. She had put up who she had coming on the show, and now I don't know where it went. But she's got some guests coming in tomorrow morning. I'm sure she'll talk a little bit about the election. She knows way more about it than I do, and so that'll be a good fit. So get ready for Lee Marie in the morning here on One Street Over, and be praying for a bunch of our WSGI people that are headed to Israel. We're very excited for them, for safe travel and just a wonderful experience. They're going to be over there during the blood moon.
That's awesome.
I don't know.
Which
Any
is
of you real, study folks. That's pretty cool to be in Israel during the blood moon. I'm just saying.
Today is my daughter's 14th birthday.
Happy birthday!
Tomorrow is my stepdaughter's 8th birthday.
Happy birthday!
And I just want to leave everybody with this. This will be my last comment. Is like you'll never go wrong being nice to people.
I like that. Well, the Nixon Pro NP, nice to people.
Nice to people.
Nice to people. There you go.
Nice
That's
people.
that's like a little side meaning for your Nixon Pro.
I'll claim that. I'll claim it now.
Tell them how to find you if they want you to help them with something.
Just
plug your
really,
business.
Just really quick, just on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, just go over there to Nixon Pro and on Instagram, Nixon Pro Media, or you can give me a call 615-543-1973.
Thank you for being a part of the show. Looking forward to having you as a regular. Get ready for Lee Marie tomorrow, sitting in with me for One Street Over on Election Day. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. Hey, get out and vote. Jonathan Hilton is on deck on Wednesday. Looking forward to that. Thank you for joining us. This is 1100 at WSGI. God bless.